Hello there. Atheist Jr. here, your friend and humble narrator, and I'm coming back with another live stream. Basically, I live in Texas, and if I try to leave my house, my front door is basically frozen shut. So outside is basically just like completely ice. It's just like Sub-Zero came and just like I'm joking, but it is extremely cold outside, so there's not much else to do but stay inside and watch videos of Kent Hovind getting dunked on. But uh, in all seriousness, I am trying out a new sort of schedule for my channel, um, where I might try streaming on weekdays. Um, if not that, then it'll be at least a couple times a week. But yeah, I kind of am liking it so far of doing, you know, these back-to-back streams. It's been really fun. Like I had a lot of fun watching the Berkeley video yesterday. I'm like, I just want to watch more of it next time because that was so much fun watching Skip Evans just destroy Kent. And there's a lot more of that. The Skip Evans exchange is definitely the best one, but uh, all of the Berkeley students, like most of them, are really, really smart, and they all come with really good arguments for Kent. And then at the commercial break, I prepared a special little video for you guys, so you'll have that to look forward to as well. So let's get started.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Andy Greenstein. I'm a second year NCB grad student here.
Okay.
I think that your disbelief of evolution is really correlated very strongly to your sort of lack of any concrete biochemical or genetic evidence. You completely ignored the area of genetics and genomics.
Wait. No, one topic at a time, okay?
Okay.
Let's just take this slowly here.
Right.
You want to say, my rejection of evolution. I don't reject evolution. I accept microevolution. I think it's a lousy term. I think variations happen. Sometimes some pretty bizarre variations. Great Danes and Chihuahuas, if you want to call that evolution, I agree, that happens. Now, I reject anything that's not scientific. We don't have any scientific evidence that a dog ever came from a non-dog. So you need to define what you mean by evolution. I don't reject evolution.
How about your statement that genetic information is never introduced into the gene pool? Could you just make that statement again?
I said there's no new increased genetic complexity. Do you know of any examples where a mutation or evolution has happened that has resulted in an increase in genetic complexity, which would create a new kind of animal? Give me your example.
Yes, I do. There's a couple. The first of all is a transposon. It's a genetic element that's mobile between species. They exist in corn, they exist in bacteria, and they often include functions like beta-lactamases. Beta-lactamases are new enzymes that bacteria never had, but are now introduced to break down penicillin. It's a new function. It's introduced by a mobile genetic element, and it adds a level of complexity. The second example.
Wait. It's introduced. How is it introduced?
The genetic element is actually mobile. It can be introduced either by phage transduction. These are small viruses that carry genetic.
So this happens naturally?
Naturally, yes.
Okay. Does this transmitting this new information by some natural means, as in like a virus puts this new information into your gene code, is that passed on to the next generation?
In humans, yes, and in bacteria, yes, and in corn, yes.
Is it beneficial?
Beneficial mutations are context specific. So what's a beneficial mutation to one organism or population of organisms could be detrimental or neutral to a different organism. For example, you have a beneficial mutation for humans where we've been able to drink the milk of other animals. There are humans that have stronger bones from genetic mutations. It's one specific family where they all seem to have this same gene mutation. And there are resistances to AIDS and other diseases that come from beneficial mutations. But if you look at like a cave fish who has eyes, but lives basically in complete darkness, and its eyes are so poor because they haven't needed to develop at all that it can barely see anyway, and it lives in the dark. if that animal were to lose its eyes over the generations, that would actually be a beneficial mutation, because then the animal has less chance of, say, getting its eye poked out and getting it infected and dying. Whereas almost every other living animal, if you had a population of them and they started to lose their eyes for whatever reason, that would not be beneficial. So if you talk about beneficial mutations, it's very context specific.
In the case of this example, yes, and in most cases, yes.
Okay. Is it an example of something is that sufficient evidence for you to believe that a rock can turn to a human over 6 billion years?
I never said that rocks could change into humans.
If you want to ask a question, wait in line, please, okay? Go ahead.
I was going to say that I'm not trying to propose that rocks can become humans. I'm thinking about evolution in terms of organisms and living things.
Okay,
right?
so
what I'm saying is that complexity can be introduced into a gene pool by mobile genetic elements that I don't think you really understand.
No, I do understand, but listen carefully.
No, no, Kent, you're not prepared for what he's saying. Like, Kent, I don't understand the specifics of what this guy's talking about. Obviously, he is going to Berkeley and he's studying the specific transposons things, but I don't know all of the specifics of what he's talking about, obviously. But for Kent to say, "Oh no, I understand it. No, I understand." No, you don't, Kent.
Transposons? You should name the 3 types of transposons.
Just listen. You are missing.
I love that. So he's like, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. He's like, no, I do understand. He's like, you understand transposons? Can you name the 3 types of transposons? And Kent just completely ignores the question. That's so funny. So you have class 2 transposons, miniature inverted repeat transposable elements, or class 3 transposons, and retro transposons, which are class 1. So there you go.
You are missing the point. What I showed tonight in my presentation
is evidence, is not all the evidence.
Speaking of the, I wasn't prepared for that catchphrase. I know Kent, when he debated Conspiracy Cats, he made a big deal of, I've never seen an evolutionist bring up ERVs as evidence for evolution before. He made this big argument of that he had never heard somebody talk about ERVs before. He had never heard somebody give ERVs as evidence of evolution, but that's not true, because I've listened to an old episode of the Infidel Guy podcast where Kent has been on there more than once, and he has people call in and sort of like debate Kent like this, and one of them brought up endogenous retroviruses and explained it to Kent. And the guy was in the middle of explaining it. He hadn't even finished explaining what they were. And Kent, obviously he doesn't know what they are, but before the guy is even finished explaining what they are, he's like, oh, well, that would just be evidence of creationism, because, God would have created the organisms with different resistances to different diseases. It's like, Kent, that's not what ERVs are at all. Like, before the guy can even finish saying it, Kent wants to take the person's evidence and flip it around to say, oh no, it's actually evidence of creationism. That's so annoying how he does that.
No, I showed there are 6. There are 6 types of evolution. You're wanting to skip the first 4. You're wanting to start with living things and say that these DNA sections can be transferred.
We'll start earlier. Back all the way up. Where do you want to start? Let's finish this issue really quickly. Let's finish this one issue really quickly. I want to let you know that transposable elements carry new complexity to species. They can do things like add new functions like beta-lactamases that confer a specific advantage. Further, these things can increase complexity at the level of... Can you just finish this really quickly?
Name an advantage.
Beta-lactamases are an advantage because they break down penicillins, and they make these bacteria resistant to penicillins not only created by you and I in the lab, but by other penicillin-producing bacteria.
Okay, did you see what I mentioned tonight about bacteria becoming resistant to drugs, especially penicillin?
Right, and it was incorrect. You said they never gain complexity or gain information. I'm saying they do.
Okay, you're missing such a big picture here. Okay.
That's what he always freaking says. When Kent gets backed into a corner, he will always just say, "You're missing the entire point, or you're missing the big picture here. Should we even have public schools?" You know what I mean? He always has to reframe it. You know, when he backpedals like that.
Where did this genetic information come from? Oh yes.
That's another one of his tactics. When Kent's cornered, whatever it is that you're talking about, he'll be like, "Well, where did this come from originally? You have to tell me where it originally came from. Where did the matter, energy, and zebras, and popcorn, and where did the grass come from? And where did the little marshmallow peeps that I like at Easter time come from? You haven't explained that at all. You think that's evidence for evolution? You think peeps are evidence for evolution? I've never seen a peep produce a non-peep. Okay? Have you ever seen a bunny rabbit peep produce a little chick peep? No.
You're talking about taking already complex, incredibly complex genetic information and moving it. This does not at all help. How did the complexity get there? This is like taking a section of a program out of PowerPoint and it's somehow getting transposed into Microsoft Word. Okay, but they're both already complex programs. The DNA segments you're talking about moving around are incredibly complex.
When all else fails, just start talking about Microsoft Word.
Complex to you. I mean, basically.
I love that. I love that so much. Kent's like, "Oh, DNA is extremely complex," and the guy's like, "Complex to you?"
How chemically complex is DNA really? And how difficult is it to make DNA from simple elements like carbon dioxide, ammonia, add a little lightning, add a little salt, add a little light energy? How long would it take? They did it in the lab, not long.
You're telling me, now, I want you to repeat that slowly. You're telling me that you take, DNA can be made very easily, you add a little something together, add a little salt.
An experiment that was done a long time ago where they simulated.
Yeah, I know it was done a long time ago. Miller and Urey experiment, okay? And it's been done many times since then. Let me show you what happened. Is this the experiment you're talking about? Let's see. Right here. Let's see. I'll get it. Okay.
A whale and a banana are not related.
Yeah, okay. Right here.
My mom would be mad.
You're telling me.
Okay, we have another super chat from Dave Dalafiore. It says, "The TV was intelligently designed. All hail the god of Zenith." Well, I don't own a TV. The Bible says, "Let me set no wicked thing before my eyes." And when I turn on the TV, they show naughty things like Jersey Shore, and there's snooki on there, and I get a weird feeling in my pants when I watch.
Take a few gases and you run them through an electric spark, and you're going to get the element. You think it's simple to make a DNA? That was your statement, I believe.
I'm saying it's not that complex a molecule in the grand scheme of
the DNA.
Molecules we've seen to exist in the universe.
The DNA is not that complex of a molecule in the grand scheme of things. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. They used methane, ammonia, water vapor, and hydrogen in this experiment, purposely excluding oxygen. And I'll explain why. This textbook says he discovered the bottom of the flask had a red goo that was rich in amino acids. Well, they didn't come close to making life. He excluded oxygen because he knew if there was any oxygen, it would oxidize whatever was created. The problem is, you can't get life to evolve with oxygen. Okay, it's going to oxidize it. It's going to break it back down. Now, amino acids that try to combine are going to oxidize. The problem is ozone is made from oxygen, and ozone blocks UV light, and UV light destroys ammonia, and that's one of the gases he used. So you can't get life to evolve without oxygen.
Your chemistry is way off. What I want to get back to is
don't make an accusation like that.
I want to get back to what I was talking about in the first place and stay on topic. I'm telling you that there are elements of DNA that add complexity. I'm telling you that small morphological or small genetic changes encoded by these transposons can result in large morphological changes and even differences as drastic as mating type preferences, you know?
Okay, now let's slow down, take this a little bit of time.
Slow down. You know, I'm very stupid, so I'm struggling to keep up.
You're telling me that DNA can be moved from one type of animal to another through either viruses or mosquitoes, or however you want to move it, okay? And this results in a new kind of animal.
God, Kent oversimplifies everything that the dude is saying so much. It's ridiculous.
That is going to be, that process is sufficient to explain how a simple thing like what we consider simple, like a paramecium, can turn into a different kind of animal, like a whale or something else, over billions of years.
This is another tactic that Kent will always do. If somebody's making a really good point to Kent, and he has nothing that he can really refute it with, what he'll do is he'll just repeat what the person said back to them, and he'll just say, "So you think that this is evidence that an amoeba can turn into a whale over billions of years? You know, there's no evidence of that. Okay, it's imagination. But you can believe that if you want. Okay, but don't call it science. And I don't want to pay for it in the public school. Okay." And we have a super chat from Darth Horror. Fun fact, Nick Matsky of Dover trial fame is in this audience. Well, that's awesome. Thank you for the super chat, you whore.
This is really hard for you to imagine because you don't understand it. That's what I'm going to finish with.
Wait. I mean, it's hard for me to imagine because I don't understand it.
That's not an insult. I'm saying a lot of people don't know.
I'm glad this guy is a volunteer lifeguard because Kent is sinking right now.
I'm trying
He's drowning.
to understand it, but see, you're missing such a big point. Okay, but you're missing such a big point. The point is, what you're referring to is something that is purely religious. You don't observe this.
No, it's certainly observation.
It's absolutely religious. Nobody observes any animal turn to a different kind of animal. Now, if you want to believe, okay, if you want to believe that, that's fine, but don't call it science.
Dude, did I not just predict exactly what Kent was going to say?
Go ahead.
Hello, hi, my name is Victor. I'm a third-year integrative biology major.
Okay.
Where to begin?
Just anywhere you like, Victor. Calm down. Take a drink. It'll be
This is another thing that you're going to see Kent doing throughout this video. He'll always tell the person he's talking to, "Oh, calm down. You know what I mean? He wants to. Kent is very, very good when it comes to attacking people on the rhetorical side. I love this quote from Aaron about Kent. He says, "It's not about truth, it's about appearances." It's so true with Kent, because Kent never has the facts on his side. So he always has to divert, feed off the crowd, insult the person, try and get them flustered, attack the way they form their argument, be really, what's the word, like pedantic about the word choice that they use. Just anything but actually engaging with the claims. Okay, we have a super chat from Native Atheist. It says, for $10, it says, "Thanks, Atheist Junior," and then a emoji of, I think, a whiskey shot glass. But I've never tasted alcohol in my life. I mean, I've had NyQuil once, but you know, I've never tasted alcohol. You know, I mean, I've done PCP, and I tore down a fence, and I was running naked and got tackled by the cops, but I've never tasted alcohol. Over.
Okay, so first of all, let's start from the beginning. You do not believe that the Earth is billions of years old.
I don't believe the Earth is billions of years old, but that's not what I covered tonight. I covered the evidence for evolution has all that's been presented so far is lies. Where's the evidence for evolution is what I was asking for tonight.
Well, you were citing your belief that the Earth was not very old as evidence that evolution is not true, because evolution is based on the assumption.
No, I didn't cite that at all. You misunderstood, Victor. I never said the Earth is not billions of years old, therefore evolution is not true. What I said is, all of the evidence used to support this theory of evolution has been proven wrong. Where's the real evidence? I do happen to believe the Earth is not billions of years old, but that is unrelated to the discussion.
What? How can you say that, Kent? He's going to do this a lot throughout this video. Like, people will say, "You're saying that evolution shouldn't be taught." He's like, "No, I never said that evolution shouldn't be taught. I just said that all of the evidence that is used to support evolution is all lies, and stop teaching kids lies. Okay? All of the lies should be taken out of the textbooks, and they shouldn't be taught." So everything supporting evolution should be taught. But I never said that we shouldn't teach evolution. I just said that we shouldn't teach any of the evidence supporting evolution or anything about evolution because it's all lies. I never said we shouldn't teach evolution. So don't strawman my position. I'll smack you.
Even if it was billions of years old, that's no help for the evolutionist. That's only the first obstacle they have to overcome. Now, if you want to discuss the age of the Earth, we certainly can, but keep in mind, I am not asking for my belief to be taught at taxpayers' expense. They are. So, the burden of proof is on the evolutionist, not on me. But go ahead.
Okay, fair, but in order to explain evolution, you would have to believe that the Earth is billions of years old.
That's what I said. The first obstacle, you have to have billions of years to make this theory look even consider reasonable.
Right, I agree. And we have very good proof that it is billions of years old.
Okay, you're welcome to believe that.
So, do you not
You're welcome to believe that.
carbon dating and argon dating?
Which one would you like to discuss? Carbon dating or argon dating?
Or both, if you want.
Okay. Well, I do know a little bit about this. Let's see.
Let me just bring up my 700 PowerPoint slides, so I don't have to actually answer you directly.
Potassium slowly decays to argon.
So if there's potassium in a banana, and so if I leave a banana on the table, it'll slowly turn into argon. Okay, we have a super chat for £5 from Second Best Bob. Loving your work, mate. Well, thank you. Thank you for the great British pounds, Governor.
Theory goes that since potassium is found in rock quite a bit and decays to argon, argon's a gas which would escape into the atmosphere. So they say, well, when a volcano erupts, it should reset the clock to 0, and we should have any lava flows, when they're fresh, should reset the clock. And this is how they date things by what's called an event horizon. You can look at any textbook. I'll show you here. Potassium decays at a pretty slow rate. 1.3 billion years is considered the half-life of potassium to argon. Okay? About 80% of potassium in a small sample of iron can be removed by distilled water in 4.5 hours. So, in conventional interpretation of potassium-argon age data, it's common to discard ages which are substantially too high or too low compared with the rest of the group, or with other available data such as the geologic time scale. There's my point. It has to be based on geologic time scale. The KBS Tough, for many years in all the science magazines, was dated between 212 and 230 million years old based on potassium-argon dating. Nobody argued with this. It was dated many, many times. Everybody said the KBS Stuff is 200-some million years old.
KBS Stuff.
Until a problem came up. Richard Leakey discovered a human skull, KNMER 1470, under the KBS Tough. Well, now we got a problem. They knew it wasn't an intrusion. It wasn't a burial where somebody dug through the layer and buried it. They checked all that. They said, man, we got a pretty normal human skull under a layer of ash that's 212 million years old. We can't have that. It upsets the theory. So they redated the KBS Tough, even though it had already been dated many times before. They never would have checked it had it not been for this fossil that was found. Now they got ages from 0.5 to 2.6 million years old. I would like to point out two things. That's way down from 212. Secondly, that's still a 500%.
Well, if you're really asking this question seriously, yes, and Event Horizon was a movie, but in Event Horizon, related to a black hole, when you have a black hole, it's basically an area of such intense density that it effectively punches a hole in space-time. And so if you get too close to a black hole, it's so dense that the gravity is so strong that for anything to escape, the escape velocity would have to be basically the speed of light or faster. That's why they say not even light can escape from a black hole. So if you're near a black hole, basically there's an area where it's a point of no return, to where once you pass that area, that's the event horizon. Once you pass the event horizon of a black hole, you are basically dead. You are going to basically get turned into a noodle of spaghetti. Like, the actual term that scientists use is spaghettification, because the gravity is so intense that you would be stretched to where your body basically becomes one atom wide in a big line. So you're basically just like a long noodle. So yeah, you would basically instantly die. But some people posit the idea that if you were on a spaceship and you saw your astronaut buddy pass the event horizon of a black hole, it's likely that you would basically just see him drift into past the event horizon, and then he would basically freeze in time there, and eventually you would just see him fade away as he became so like redshifted that he basically just disappeared. But some people think like to him, it's possible that he would see like time passing extremely fast from his perspective, in the time that he was still alive. But it's interesting the idea of like what it would actually look like if you saw somebody cross the event horizon. So we have a $5 super chat from JDBR. It says, when I was in the army, I had a first sergeant that said Kent was a good Christian. He corrected me that he was in prison for tax evasion, not fraud. That's better. That's not really true. Kent was put in jail for 45 counts of structuring his withdrawals, and that is considered a form of tax fraud. For not withholding federal income taxes from his employees or social security taxes, which is defrauding the federal government from taxes that are rightfully owed to them. And so, yeah, I mean, he was basically in jail for fraud. I mean, Kent got hit with extra charges for mail fraud, like I think in like 2014 when he was about to get out of jail, where Kent was almost in jail for another like 10 or 20 years. Like it looked bad. But he actually was found not guilty in that case and got released. So Kent got real lucky. It's actually because of one sovereign citizen juror being on the jury and jury nullification. Totally crazy, but that's for another video.
An error. Half million to 2.6 million. We can talk a long time about that one, but the way they keep adding age to the Earth, okay?
Yeah, as far as I know, Kent's main channel has gotten 3 strikes. The last strike was a video was taken down for hate speech, violating community guidelines, and I'm pretty sure that was Kent's 3rd strike on that channel, because they haven't uploaded anything over there in like 2 weeks.
The Earth, if you want to believe it's billions of years old, that's fine, but I don't think you should use potassium-argon dating to do that, okay? Hawaiian lava flow, 1801, a known eruption, was dated.
Well, if you are an employer and you have employees, then you are supposed to pay them with paychecks, and the paychecks are going to have money that is withdrawn from that for FICA taxes and Social Security taxes that goes to the government, or you could say the IRS. What right do they have to take your money? Well, I mean, it would be the employee's money, but I don't know. I'm not really here to make that argument, but the reason that I think it's important that someone like Kent didn't pay his employees with paychecks and instead he paid them cash is he didn't have to follow any sort of minimum wage law, because I know that Kent is very against the concept of minimum wage and especially the idea of raising the minimum wage. Kent says like, oh, well, you should just pay people what they're worth. So, it's, to me, that seems like one reason that Kent wanted to pay cash, because he wanted to pay people as little as possible. But I don't know. That's, what right does the government have to take your money? I mean, they build roads and It funds the police and the firefighters. I don't know. They waste a lot of it. I think that U.S. citizens should know what departments their different tax dollars go to, and I think you should be able to choose like where the majority of your taxes go, or at least know where they're going. I think.
With potassium argon dating at 1.6 million years old, it didn't work. Okay, a Hawaiian lava flow. Let's see. In 1959, they knew when the lava erupted, it's supposed to reset the clock. It's supposed to make an event horizon. Well, how come it's 8.5 million years old? Sicily, Mount Etna erupted. I was climbing on Mount Etna 2 years ago. It erupted 1964, gave a potassium argon age of 700,000. The 1972 eruption gave an age of 350,000. Brand new lava from Mount St. Helens was potassium argon dated, and it gave ages of 350,000 to 2.8 million from the same rock. This is brand new lava. So if you want to believe there are event horizons, you can believe that, okay? But rocks of known age, when you date it with potassium argon dating, it doesn't work, okay? If you date a rock of unknown age, it is assumed to work. This is silly. Now, the potassium argon dating for the KBS stuff is just one example. Here's how it's done.
I never said that police and firefighters are a waste. I said that's a good thing that the government spends tax dollars on. I said that the government wastes a lot of money besides that. I did not say that they are a waste.
If you find a fossil underneath a layer of ash, the two layers of ash are called event horizons. Check your geology book, they'll tell you about this. And so the age of the fossil is bracketed by the two event horizons. I'm telling you, it's not accurate. This is not science. Somebody wants to believe that, that's fine. But see, one good experiment's worth a pound of theory any day. Okay, you can have all the theories you want about potassium decaying to argon slowly and the clocks being reset when the volcano erupts and leaves a layer of ash or lava. I understand the theory. In practice, it doesn't work. So I don't want to hear about it. Go ahead.
Okay, you don't want to hear about it.
Fine, well, I want to see some science. I can show you the scientific evidence says it doesn't work.
Okay, I think I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Hold on one second. Actually, we're going to take a break. Yeah, actually, we're going to go to commercial break. Okay, I apologize for my crappy singing, but I randomly started like just singing that in another video, and I got a bunch of comments from people like saying that because I did another video where I was just like randomly, oh, I'm only Hovind after all. I love that song. It's actually a really good song, and I was like, well, why don't I just make like an actual video out of it? So there you go. That's a special video I made for you guys. I apologize for my crappy singing though.
They tested, it doesn't work. Now, you can tell me all you want about it, but and I'll listen to you. But if you want me to pay to teach that potassium argon dating works, I'm sorry, I object. It doesn't work. It's been proven over and over it doesn't work.
Okay, I'm not familiar with the sources that you're getting these things, so I will...
Okay, now let me ask you a question. Would the source matter? If it was an evolutionist, would you believe it? And if it was a creationist, you wouldn't believe it?
If the evidence...
Yeah, but this particular guy kind of sucks, so I'm going to see if I can skip ahead a little bit. Because there's one person that I want to show. Let's see. Oop. Yes, here we go.
Dandelion, look at somebody else. Okay. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you. Don't want airflow to get...
I like what this person says a lot. She's really good. But yeah, Skip Evans. Yeah, that was definitely the best the best part of this whole video for sure.
Okay. Okay, good. Go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Hovind.
Hi. I forgot your name now. What is
My
it?
name is Michelle Markstein, and I'm a postdoctoral fellow here in the Integrative Biology Department. I have a PhD in genetics.
Okay.
And but before we start talking about biology, I first have a question for you.
Sure.
Okay. So you showed us very beautiful, polished slides, basically giving us evidence that scientists are liars.
Wait. No, you don't misconstrue my position.
Did you not give us evidence that scientists are liars?
Don't misconstrue my position.
And say that several times?
I said, this is a lie. This should not be taught in the textbooks.
Yes,
Now, if you are teaching this
right,
as part of your evidence,
right,
then you are a liar.
Okay, so
if you are not teaching that, then you're fine.
scientists who are pushing this theory are in essence liars.
Not scientists who are pushing evolution are liars. Scientists who are teaching these lies are liars.
Okay, but
Let's get it straight.
okay.
Just because
So
somebody that believes in
Berkeley
it.
professors who are teaching this
They're teaching
are liars.
Berkeley
Are
professors who are
teaching
teaching.
evolution.
No, there you go again. You're misunderstanding.
Okay.
I did
didn't
not say.
misunderstand. Your slides
No,
were beautiful. I missed
listen.
the point.
Let's just get a vote on this here.
Okay.
I did not say a professor who teaches evolution is a liar. A professor who teaches the gill slits on the embryo exist is a liar. I will say that. A professor who teaches the whale has a vestigial pelvis is either ignorant or a liar.
Right.
How many heard me say that tonight a whole bunch of times? Okay.
Yes, me
so
too.
Okay, you heard something?
I believe
No,
that scientists
you're
are
trying.
liars. We're pushing a theory that even a 5-year-old could see as wrong. Is that not what your point was throughout tonight's talk?
My point was that a 5-year-old can tell you a dog and a wolf are the same kind of animal. And a dog and a banana are not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, do you believe dogs are related to bananas?
Ultimately, yes.
Ultimately, yes. Okay. Do you believe dogs and bananas and humans ultimately came from a rock 4.6 billion years ago?
Okay.
Do you believe, just yes or no, do you believe that?
Okay.
Just yes or no. Do you believe we all came from a rock? Screw you, Ken.
I don't think it's correct to say yes or no. I want to point out to people here who are not familiar with his type of argument, okay?
I'll show you right from your textbook.
No. Let's not go to the textbook. Let's just have a talk, you and me.
Why don't you-
Come on.
I-
Be frank. I challenge you. I challenge you to just have a conversation.
No PowerPoint! No PowerPoint!
Oh, I'm glad. I want to show everybody the folly of believing that a dog and a banana have a common ancestor.
Let me tell you about what I study.
Okay, tell me.
But first I want you to still answer my question, then we can talk about some evidence for evolution, okay, based on what I actually study, which, just as a little teaser, are commonalities between fruit flies, those things that you say we mutate and have, make them have curly wings.
Right.
Okay, I find those flies very useful, actually.
Yeah, fruit flies are an extremely useful, animal to use in science and experiments because, obviously they have extremely short, generation cycles. They're very small, so you can keep a huge number of them in a lab environment very easily. They don't take up much space. You can breed them easily and quickly, and their genetics. We actually share quite a bit of our genetic makeup with them, so you can study how diseases develop in fruit flies and learn a lot about how diseases develop in humans. So we've learned a lot from fruit fly experiments, and it's pretty funny if you guys are familiar with Sarah Palin, the former governor of Alaska. She was quoted on, I don't know if it was Fox News or some show she was on, and she was like, "Y'all, they're doing experiments with fruit flies? Like, she got..." I don't even know what that accent was, but she had no idea the significance of fruit fly experiments. And it's exactly like Kent, to where on the surface it sounds like it's, oh, that seems silly. Like, how could you learn anything experimenting on flies? What, you pulled their legs off? No, what, now they're not a fly. What are they, a crawl? You got curly wings? You got no wings? You got one wing? Kent frames it like scientists are just in the lab, like pulling wings off of flies and just tormenting them. It's not like that,
And I see commonalities between fruit flies and guess what? Human beings.
Wait.
And I'll tell you about that in a bit.
You're saying, as a postdoctoral fellow.
There you go. But you don't need to say doctor in front of my name. Okay. I'm pretty secure about it.
Okay, that's fine. I don't care about the doctor. You're saying that there are similarities between fruit flies and humans, and this proves
No, I'm not saying it proves
Okay, it's
evolution
evidence.
at all.
It's
But
evidence.
there's a misconception. So I am not an evolutionary biologist. I am not qualified to debate you on most of the issues you put up there. One
Okay.
thing that you guys may not know, okay, is that evolutionary biology is basically the fabric of biological sciences. So many of us, while we're not studying, we're not experts in geology or asking ourselves how animals evolved, we use the relatedness between animals to make discoveries. And in my case, for example, I study something called innate immunity. And it's a very ancient type of immune system, and it actually exists in animals such as fruit flies and in animals such as us. And what I have found in looking at the genome of these animals is that there's a conserved, what we call a regulatory signature. I've been able to find this in the fruit fly, and now I'm going to use this information to probe the human genome to look for immunity genes and to understand how that works. And do you know why? To help human health.
Yep. Okay, we have a super chat from Lucas for $5. It says, do you think that the YouTube atheist community is to blame for replatforming a post-prison Hovind? Are you talking about him post-prison as him getting out in 2015? Or do you mean him recently getting arrested? YouTube is the platform that Kent is on. YouTube is the platform that Kent immediately went to when he got out of jail in 2015. So, atheists don't run YouTube. You know what I mean? Atheists, I don't think gave Kent the platform, because Kent can make videos on YouTube by himself and people were going to watch them. Right when he got out of jail, people were watching his videos. Of course, atheists debating Kent puts a lot more eyes on him, obviously. But do I see that as really platforming Kent? I don't know. I heard a lot of people saying after Kent got in trouble for the domestic violence that, you know, people shouldn't be debating him anymore. And to me, that made sense. But I don't think that responding to Kent's claims in his videos is necessarily platforming him in a negative way. I think if you're showing how he's a liar, if you're showing how he's dishonest, then I don't really think that that's a bad thing, because the person who's platforming Kent is standing for truth. The reason that Kent, you know, he always says, "Oh, debate me, debate me." Well, standing for truth, whenever somebody debates Kent Hovind, it's done on his channel, and standing for truth wants that because, you know, they don't want a neutral platform, because when you have a debate with Kent on SFT's channel, for the Q&A, for people to ask questions to Kent, and, you know, there's always people that want to ask questions to Kent. It's usually a lot of atheists. They have to send super chats in to SFT, so it benefits him directly. But I guess to answer your question, I would say no. And we have a super chat from Dave Dalfior. It just says, Kent is wearing Eric's pants. How do you know that? Were you there? Were you there?
That's
That's
wonderful.
why.
I'm proud of you. Now listen,
Not to,
Kurt. You're You are missing the entire point. If there are similarities between
He's such a broken record.
humans and fruit flies,
yes.
that might prove the same guy designed them.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you.
Thank you.
I agree with you. So I want to now point out that one of the flyers we have discusses one such scientist. He was one of the heads of the Human Genome Project. You may know of him. His name is Dr. Francis Collins.
I've never met him. I've heard of him.
Okay, so Dr. Collins was the head of the Genome Project. He's both an MD and a PhD. And Dr. Collins is also a Christian.
There you go. Right there. Great example.
Okay, so actually there are many scientists who are.
So if you look here, you're going to see that she's holding this paper and her hand is kind of shaking because she's obviously nervous, because, you know, confronting Kent in front of an auditorium full of people is very intimidating. You know what I mean? Kent can be very intimidating to go up against. And Kent is going to use this because he's clearly losing the argument to her. He's going to use this to basically make fun of her and try and swing things back in his favor, which is a really underhanded way of doing things. And Kent is just such a sexist. The way he talks to women, really gross.
Christians and also embrace evolution. What
I
Dr.
agree.
Hovind says
No argument.
is that if God decided to use the mechanism of evolution to create human beings,
you look
who are we
nervous.
to
You look
say that
nervous.
was a
Calm
bad
down,
way to do
calm
it?
down. It's okay.
You know
You
why
look
I'm
nervous.
nervous? Because I don't have the rhetorical skills that you do.
No, I am winning this argument because I'm right.
No, I don't. Certain people here for a very unfortunate reason, which is that they have not been really exposed to the truths of evolutionary biology.
Okay.
And I think that the way
Let
to
me-
be exposed to those truths is to actually take a course in it, which you can do here.
Well,
and I encourage you to do it.
calm down. Your next question, but let me translate that for you folks in case you didn't catch what she just said. Okay. What she just implied was, if you don't believe in evolution, you're dumb. You haven't studied this enough to know the truth. How many caught that? How many caught that tonight? Okay. Repeat your last statement then. Listen carefully. Repeat your last statement. You said,
have it on your tape?
you got it on tape. You said, I'm winning the argument with some people here tonight.
You did. That's right.
I'm winning the argument with some people here tonight because they have had the unfortunate position
I
or something.
think it was unfair to say you were winning the argument here tonight, and actually you said you were winning the argument with me. So I'd like to ask, who thinks that I'm winning the argument?
What? Okay. Now, who thinks she is losing the argument? It's irrelevant. I'm not here to.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, man. But you. And if you do have a heart
I love how so many.
attack, I do know CPR. I'll be glad.
God, is he calling her like fat? I don't know. I hated how I was gonna say I love how so many people in this video they talk with Kent and they make their point, and then Kent is just so oblivious and they just end up like walking away while Kent is still talking to him. I think that's so funny.
Go ahead.
All right.
Okay, I think this is gonna be the last guy we watch.
My name is Neil. I'm from SF State. I'm an international relations major.
International relations. Neil?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Neil. Go ahead.
So in the first part of your presentation, you talked a lot about the lies that are in the textbooks.
Correct.
And
Most of my presentation tonight was simply, these are lies in the textbooks, take them out. Right.
okay. And so you're constraining the argument mostly to talking about those lies and
Well,
whether they should be
since
on the text.
I am paying for these lies to be taught, and I
Right.
think most people resent lies being taught at taxpayer expense. That's the whole point tonight.
Okay. Now, in your presentation, later you talked about the vestigial organs in whales, and
There are no vestigial organs in whales.
right.
Some people are teaching there are. Is that book teaching there are vestigial whale pelvis? Look up whale pelvis. Just look up vestigial.
All right. So I'm going to complete the question that I'm going to ask, and then you're going to respond to it.
Well, if it's a real long question, I want to do it in pieces because I'll forget. Okay. I'm on Florida time. I should be in bed 2 hours ago. Go ahead.
All right. So, after you said that besides if they lost their legs, that's the opposite of evolution.
If the whale has a vestigial pelvis, and that is supposed to be evidence of it losing legs, that is not an helpful example for evolution. That would still be counterproductive.
Now, so you're defining evolution then as what? As
Well, the evolutionist would say we started from a single-celled organism which has no legs and slowly developed legs. Somewhere along the line, legs had to develop.
right, but
What? Somewhere along the line? Like, I'm just picturing like an amoeba that's like sprouting legs.
evolution is the process of moving from less adapted organisms to more adapted organisms.
Is that your definition of evolution?
That is the definition of evolution.
Okay, moving from less adapted to more adapted.
Organisms, yes.
Organisms, okay, that's your definition. Go ahead.
Right.
Yeah, I totally agree with this comment. It's so frustrating how Kent always like has to stop people.
So a whale that would be on land and becomes an aquatic mammal and then loses its legs, would you say that's a more adapted or less adapted animal to the aquatic environment?
A whale that moves on land or moves off land and loses its legs, I would say...
I'm saying an organism, okay.
An organism.
All right. Okay. So let's say sea lions right now.
Sea lions, we're back to...
Okay.
Well, what happened to the whales?
This is irrelevant. I'm using an example here of an organism that moves into the water.
An organism moves into the water, like a sea lion.
Right. And loses its legs and gains in replacement for flippers.
Okay. An organism, I would say that an example of an organism that moves into the water and loses its legs and replaces them with flippers is an example of a fairy tale.
See, he's not even freaking listening to the guy, dude. Not engaging with the argument at all.
Not an example of something we observe. You can believe that if you want, but there's no evidence.
All right. But that's not the question that I'm addressing.
Okay.
Because you're saying if that happened, that's...
Okay. It takes so long for each person to just try and get Kent to answer their question. Like, first of all, he interrupts when they're just trying to ask the question in the first place. He has to butt in 5 times. And Kent always has to jump the gun and try and answer the person's question before they've even finished saying it. Like, he thinks he's so smart. He's like, oh, well, no, what you're saying is actually evidence for my shit. Like, Kent, just let the person finish. And then, I have a video called Kent Hovind Dodges 10 Questions. I think this video would be like Kent dodging like 250 questions.
The opposite of evolution.
Yeah.
And evolution having an opposite is a profound misunderstanding of the evolutionary theory. And you put it in your PowerPoint presentation, and it's a lie.
No, listen. The example I gave was, the textbook says the whale has a vestigial pelvis, and the definition of vestigial is it doesn't need it anymore.
But then you said, besides, if they lost their legs, that is the opposite of evolution.
That's correct. That is
now,
losing something.
Either you're ignorant of evolutionary theory, or you're telling a lie.
Do you believe the whale evolved from a land-dwelling creature, like a cow, like the folks at the National Center for Science Education believe?
Yeah. NCSC never said that a cow evolves into a whale. Kent shows the front page of a brochure from NCSC that says, Bossy to blowhole. Did a whale evolve from a cow? ? And then I've actually read this, and if you open it, it basically says no. Modern whales didn't evolve from modern cows. And then it goes to talk about Pakicetus and the other ancestors to whale. And it tells you how whales evolved from 4-legged land-dwelling creatures, not freaking cows. Although a cow still falls in that category. But Pakicetus and the ancestors of modern whales were animals that were 4-legged, and then they had long tails, and they got increasingly more streamlined to be able to go into the water and be basically aerodynamic underwater, and eventually they went from having legs to having flippers. So I would ask Kent, why is it that whales have finger bones in their flippers? Why not just have like one big solid bone? Why are there individual finger bones? It doesn't make any sense. It's not necessary, right? Why would God design a whale to have finger bones in its flipper? Isn't it more likely that a whale has finger bones in its flipper because the ancestor of modern whales had a hand or like a paw where it had individual digits, and then over time the hand would have basically fused together when it turned into a flipper. And so on the outside it's one basically one fused together thing, but you still have the individual finger bones. But Kent would just say, oh, well, God just designed whales to have finger bones in their flipper, he just did it as a goof, goofy, goof troop. God
I mean, you can.
I showed you their brochure from Bossy to Blowhole. That's a cow to a whale, okay?
I'm not saying that I particularly believe that it's a cow, but I believe that it
You believe it was a land-dwelling animal that turned into a whale? Okay. Do you realize that whales have their nose on the top of their head?
Yes.
Okay, and most animals on land have their nose on the front of their
Right.
head.
And there is, in fact, a fossil record that shows the movement of the blowhole from the nose to the top of the head.
Yes, there's such a detailed record that paleontologists actually are able to track how many millimeters per million years the blowhole moves.
Somebody taught you that, and you paid to get taught that? They stole your money from you, son, okay?
Yeah, so basically, this guy's whole point is Kent says that an animal losing its legs is the opposite of evolution. But he says there's no opposite of evolution because evolution is simply moving from an animal or a population being less adapted to being more adapted. So if you have a land-dwelling animal like Tacitus that goes into the water and then over time it loses its legs and gets flippers, that's not the opposite of evolution. That's it becoming more adapted to its environment, which is now the water. Of course, you have animals like Tiktaalik that could live both in water and then they could, it was a lobe-finned fish where it could walk out onto land, basically use its fins as rudimentary legs, and Tiktaalik had gills and lungs. So you have animals that are going from being less adapted to being more adapted. If you say an animal loses its legs and gets fins, and that's the opposite of evolution. That guy is basically saying, Kent, by saying that there's an opposite of evolution, you're proving that you're an idiot that doesn't understand evolution at all. Because evolution doesn't have a goal where animals get better and better and better. It's just more adapted to their environment. And if they don't adapt to their environment well, they're going to die out and go extinct, like 99% of the animals that have lived on the planet, Okay, guys, so we just hit the hour mark. So thank you to the people in the live chat. We have 188 viewers right now, almost 200. That's awesome. I know a couple other people were streaming right now, Apologia and others. So thank you guys for choosing to hang out with me in my stream and watch Kent get dunked on again. Okay, we have a super chat from Second Best Bob for £5. It says, I'm quite shocked about how many salty theists are in your chat. Call that a win, mate. I honestly haven't been paying attention. I'm really tired, honestly. So I'm gonna we have another super chat from Dave Dallafure. I can't keep up with the super chats. It says, can't wait to see Kent on a milk carton. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Apologia has been doing some test streams on his Apologia Live channel where he's now doing live streams where he reacts to videos and pauses and gives his commentary. I wonder where he got that idea. Okay. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Leave a comment telling me what you thought of the live stream. And if you'd like to support my channel past just engaging with the content, you can go to patreon.com/atheistjunior and pledge as little as $1 per month. I also have tiers up to $20 where you get extra benefits. One of the benefits is I will dress up like Kent Hovind and record a video that's tailored to you. And you got to pay the big bucks for that one, but I'll do it. I'll frickin' do it. I am your dancing monkey to throw quarters at if you want to sign up for my Patreon. So thank you to all the people in the live chat, and thanks for watching.